Well, we are back at the Oconto Area Humane Society, and yes, I got the feedback. Put the vest on. You went to all the effort, Scott, to sew it and to get it ready for the campaign, so we want to see it. Plus, I've got my hat on as well. So, if you're brand new to this and you have no idea why is Scott dressed like Willy Wonka or a steampunk guy, however you want to interpret it, it's because we're doing a campaign fundraiser and a contest all in one to, number one, raise funds for the Oconto Area Humane Society. Number two, we want to celebrate the 50th anniversary, and if you've been living underneath a rock or just landed from the moon or something like that, this month, the 23rd of September, is the 50th anniversary of the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie that came out on September 23rd, 1970. So going way, way, way back, the movie is being celebrated, and we're tying it into a couple of things. If you don't know it, Charlie, that played in the movie, is actually now serving as a veterinarian out in New York. So a lot of great pieces kind of coming together like a puzzle as we're pulling this campaign together. And a quick shout out to all the folks that are already on the board as a hero for Hank. And Hank, if you're brand new to this channel or you don't know anything about Hank, Hank is a dog that I adopted about 2 years ago from the Oconto Area Humane Society. A lot of people know him because he'll usually make noises in the middle of a premiere, kind of like Angie's puppy is off camera right now. He's all excited about being here and probably a little bit nervous as well. But Hank is always popping up in premieres in one form or another. You'll hear him barking at the UPS truck or the FedEx truck or whatever, and he wants to be known. So we're raising these funds to help the Humane Society because that's where he came from. That was his home before he came to my home. So become a hero for Hank. Those that have already jumped out have really made a loud shout of we want to help. We started the campaign on Labor Day, which is September 6th. By September 8th, which was yesterday, we had already raised almost 50% of the funds we sought to raise, about $2,200, and our ultimate goal right now is $5,000. So amazing job, you guys. Thank you for doing this to help out all the critters. And if you haven't seen those videos already on the channel, you'll want to check them out. I interview the director, Lexi, and then she takes me through and we see all the brand new kitties and the puppies and everything else. You don't want to miss that. And then I also go for a nice walk with Bruce as well, who's on the board of directors. And today, after I get done blah, blah, blahing, as you know I can do so easily, we're going to have the privilege to visit with Vern, who is a rescue dog that belongs to Angie, who serves as the president on the board of directors. And Vern is very excited to be on camera. You can just hear him in the background right now. He's like, put me on camera, put me on camera. Hey buddy, here, smell the book. So at any rate, with that said, thank you again for all the heroes for Hank that have already jumped out and made those donations. I didn't anticipate us being at almost 50% of the goal in the first 2 days of the campaign, but here we are. But don't let that cause you to sit back and say, oh, there's plenty of people, I don't need to help out, I don't need to jump in. That's the last message I want to deliver to all of you. I want you to give the Humane Society a call today. You'll see a number of the posts in the description and in the content. I have the web address, I've got the phone number. And again, just because the shelter is operating on reduced hours right now, when you make a donation through their website, again, Oconto Area Humane Society, you want to make sure you send a follow-up email, and Lexi or one of her staff will get it so that you can confirm that your donation is specifically for the Willy Wonka campaign, because they get other donations as well. And if you don't send that email after you make your donation to say, hey, I'm donating for the Willy Wonka campaign, then they're not going to know to contact me with your information, and I won't know to send you a Willy Wonka bar that might have a golden ticket in it. And again, watch that first video that I posted so you know exactly what you can win. Some really great things, including a behind-the-scenes tour of the workshop, and then after looking at all of my personal collection, over 200 machines, you can pick the machine of your dreams and I'll fully restore it for you. That's the grand prize. So I don't want to recoup all of that again right now and go over it, but check those videos out so you know what's going on, get involved, and make a difference. So behind me, you remember when we did the interview with Lexi, we had another picture on the wall of a fun puppy. So as we're looking at this beautiful white dog, and I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't know what breed he is, but maybe you do. Type in the chat what you think his name might be. A clever, fun name. Kind of like Angie's dog has a fun name of being Vern and came from Texas. And all of you that are always getting involved in what I do are from Texas. So we're going to be interviewing Angie and her Texas dog today. How cool is that? So I'll be interested to see what names you come up with, because I can't see the chat right now, what names you come up with for this puppy. And maybe, since Angie's the president of the board of directors, she might say, okay, I decree that that's what that dog on the wall will be called from this point forward. See the power you have? So type it in the chat right now and make your voice be heard. So let's change the camera shot right now. And I'll introduce you officially to Angie and to Vern. And I'm going to have to move the tripod because I just realized I don't have it pointed the right way. And you can hear the puppies in the background too going, hey, we want to be heard too. All right. So this is Angie and Vern. And I'll ask Angie some questions as far as, yes, I left my hat on because I want you guys to be happy. When we go for a walk, I might not be wearing it because they'll call the police and you know what I'm saying. Some weird guy walking with a tall hat. But Angie, it's so great to be able to sit down and visit with you for a little bit. How long have you been on the board of directors and how long have you been Madam President?
All right, so first off, thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm very excited to join in on the group. So I've actually only been in this area for 4 years, and I have been on the board of directors for 3.5 of those. Spent the first 3 years on the board as the treasurer and the last half year or so as the president. So I'm newly minted as the president of the board.
Well, and I enjoyed reading your story on the web page. Your passion and your love of critters started because of Grandpa. Can you share a little bit about that story?
Yeah. My grandfather raised Boston Terriers his whole life. And when I was the first granddaughter, my mom is an only child, so, you know, I'm a big deal. For my grandpa, at least.
Yeah, you are.
Right? First grandchild, and for my birthday, I was 2 years old, and my grandpa gave me a puppy. And that started it all. So that dog's name is Kipper. It was a little Boston Terrier, and she lived for 14 years. And she was mine. She was my puppy to raise, and she brought joy and she brought happiness, and it's never stopped. So I have been a long time dog lover. My entire family has dogs. After my grandparents no longer, they used to breed Boston Terriers. When they sold their business or stopped their business, I don't think they even sold it. We started rescuing from there. So we are a whole family filled with rescuers, and I call them some of the mistreated and the unwanted or the differently wanted.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of the people at this premiere right now watching live is going to be my dear friend Emma from Florida. And Emma has already become a hero for Hank. She jumped in right away and made a donation to help out. So thanks again for that, Emma, and certainly thank you to all the others as well. But Emma has a Boston Terrier as well, and his name is Apollo, and he's been having some health issues. So all of you keep Apollo in thought as Emma tries to take care of him down in Naples, Florida, and get him well again. But Boston Terriers are such a beautiful breed, such a loving, fun dog to have, aren't they?
Yes, and my parents actually also now live in Florida, so maybe Emma, after Apollo's feeling better, you guys could have a play date. They're just north of Tampa, so
neat.
yeah,
neat.
They have 2 Boston Terriers currently. So
You're fairly new to the area. I mean, so you said you've been here about 4 years. You've been on the board now, is it less than a year?
No, for 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay, so you were treasurer, and then now you're president of the board as well. What have you seen the challenges being in keeping an operation like this running? All of you remember when we walked through with Lexi, and then we took that walk with Bruce as well, hearing about the expenses. I mean, when you got like 20 plus dogs or cats that need to be spayed and neutered, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars. So that's why, you know, like I said in the last interview with Bruce, if all you can donate is $50, that is going to make a huge impact. It's multiplication. One person makes $50, another person donates $50 and $50 and $50 and $50, and all of a sudden you've got what we have right now, where, you know, just launching into this campaign, we're at almost 50% of the goal. And even Vern is excited about it. He goes, and also I'm kind of sniffing that chocolate bar too, and is there a golden ticket in there for me? Is there? So, but what challenges have you seen, both as treasurer, where you had your hand right on those finances all the time, and you were probably dreaming about them, and just, I mean, all that weight on your shoulders?
Yeah, I will say the shelter's come a long way in the last 4 years. And I mean, my involvement in the shelter actually started when I was just looking to learn about the community, and we came to check out dogs and see if we wanted to add a dog to our home. And at the time, the dog that we had picked, 2 days after that, we were going to do a meet and greet, and she ended up having parvo. And for those of you who aren't familiar, parvo is extremely deadly to puppies. It's because they're unvaccinated. It's touch and go. So when we heard the diagnosis, I didn't know anybody here. I really didn't. And Lexi, the director of the shelter, called me and let me know what was going on. And she said, "What do you want us to do? You know, if you want to look at different dogs to adopt, we can fully do so." And I said, well, where there's life, there's hope, right? And every day I called, twice a day, check in on her. The vet next door was amazing. He was in here helping with medication. He was in here doing IVs and making sure that she was okay. And she wasn't. For 4 days, she was very lethargic, barely moved. And then on day 5, I got a call. And they said, "She's turning the corner, and you want to come in and see her?" So we did. And I mean, I will tell you, I have laid on the floor in this shelter before I ever knew anybody. And that dog's name is Sadie, and she's 4 years old now, and she lives with us. So that's a success story, and that's actually how I got involved in this shelter. And so I think back to 4 years ago, and where we were, and becoming the treasurer shortly after. We had a high need on our board. We did not have anybody with financial background. I do work in corporate America with finance, so I took on the role right away, and our budget, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, we had to think, you know, can we take in any additional animals? We had to pick and choose who could surrender. We had to think about like medical necessities. I mean, it was not fun. And I was the bad guy in the board meetings, saying things like, we need to reduce staffing, or we need to reduce the amount of animals that we have in care, or we need to think about surgeries and minimize that risk, because we were at risk. And I think we were turning the corner at that point in time. But it wasn't without difficulty. I will say, last year I was probably the worst person on the board when it comes to managing, and by worst I mean I was the one who had to come with the bad news. So we need to think about our hours. Unfortunately, our staff stayed even with pay. We wanted to keep them employed, and we wanted to keep animals here. So I was always the bad guy, right? But that's okay, because it was my job to make sure that our budget was managed. And I can say that we're doing really well now with fundraising. Our community has come out in droves to keep the doors open, to make sure that we're helped. COVID has provided us with a lot of learning experience, I think, just as a society, but also how can we keep the doors open, make sure that the animals that are in need in the community are getting helped, and that we're helping out our community as a whole. So we had individuals who wanted to surrender because there was job loss, etc. And we were trying to think of different ways to help. So what is it that we can help with? Can we provide you additional food? Can we, is there vet need? What is it that we can do to help rather than bring them to surrender, because people were, they were concerned. So, just thinking of different ways that we can also be involved in the community. And, so far so good. It has, we've stayed open this whole time. We've had a ton of success stories. We have adopted out hundreds and thousands now of animals since I've been on the board. And yeah, it's
good stuff.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So.
And there's always going to be steps back whenever you're working with an organization, especially when you're so much relying on folks like you and local folks as well that are living in the Oconto, greater Oconto area, to, what do I say all the time to all of you? Stepping out of the shadows, putting your life on pause. We're all busy. Angie's busy. She's a professional woman working out in corporate America. And but she puts her life on pause. Even last night, when I had a chance to attend that board meeting, she was out there late and then came over to the workshop with some of the other board members. That passion is the same passion that you saw in Lexi with that first interview, the same passion that you saw in Bruce when we had a chance to meet him as well. Passion is what drives an operation like this. But guess what? There's no fuel to drive the engine of that passion without those donations. Whether it's $50 or $100, or as some of you have stepped forward and donated even more generously, I always say, it's not equal giving, it's equal sacrifice. And some of you have been incredibly blessed with the means to make a big difference, and some of you have already done that in this campaign. You know who you are, and I know that some of you especially like to be anonymous, so I'm going to say thank you to the anonymous people as well for making a big difference. But I know shortly we're gonna take a walk with Vern and with Angie and just kind of get out there and let this little guy, he's just bustling with energy, and wanting to get out there and probably smell things and everything else that dogs love to do. But what would you like to say to the folks watching right now as far as them taking, I asked Bruce the same question, taking that step forward and making a difference for the shelter here in Oconto?
Yeah, I mean, everybody matters, and everything that you're doing matters to us. Vern is actually a great success story in that. When Vern was actually a transport, he came to us from Texas, and unfortunately, after the stress and everything of his travels, he actually got very sick. So he has been in foster care with us. But he was about 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds, emaciated, you could say his ribs. We had him at the vet, and all of these funds that we raise are going to these animals. And I mean, I always love to look at him because he's such a success story, from where he was and the dog that he was when he first came to us versus the dog he is now, where he is filled with energy and he's, 13 pounds and he's happy, and he loves everybody clearly, as you can see, but that's really what we're here for, and it matters to keep these little babies alive, right? So like I said before, where there's life there's hope, and we always want to make sure that we are able to provide not just life but hope when when the animals are struggling too, so I can't say thank you enough. Every donation matters. It's how we stay afloat. We do not have any sort of government subsidized or state subsidies. It's all donor based, and you guys have helped us immensely already. So thank you.
Just like all of you, when you're watching premieres, and one of my premieres on a sewing machine will run over 4 hours, and you stick it out and you persevere and you go, we love you, Scott, we're gonna stay tuned in, even though might have something on the stove or the kids are fussing or whatever. this little guy, Vern, has been incredibly patient with Angie and I as we've been chatting. So we've got to get out now and take a little bit of a walk, give him a chance to stretch his legs, and then we'll wrap up things here as well. But thank you again to all the heroes for Hank that have stepped out so early and have said, we're not going to send a mixed message here. We love critters, whether they're in the greater Oconto area or whether they're down in Texas. Many of you Texans are some of the biggest supporters of what we do through Vintage Sewing Machines and through this channel. And so you Texans especially, I'm going to call you out right now and say, this beautiful little guy, Vern, is from your territory. So doggone it, pick up the phone, go to the website, make a difference today, not tomorrow, not next week. Make a difference today to help out Hank and to help out Vern as well, who came from your neck of the woods. So, all right, I hear you. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to set down my stuff, grab the camera off the tripod, and Angie and I are going to go out for a walk, okay? So join us.
You ready, Vern?
And if you didn't see him close enough when he was in my lap, that's Vern right there. That's Vern right there. You want to go out the front or
Yeah,
the...
we'll go out the front
Okay,
door.
perfect. Yeah.
Actually, let's go out the back. We're cleaning the shelter right now, so
Sure.
we're during closed hours.
You remember all these rooms on our first walkthrough with Lexi? That's the laundry room.
We'll actually
Yay.
sneak through the side
Sure.
door here. That way, if any friends are out playing, we don't have to worry about them. All right. It's turning into a beautiful day.
Almost. And that's part of the reason I was hoping that you would, I know how busy your schedule is, I was hoping that we would be able to connect today, is because they said, Thursday, perfect weather. It's going to be like California, you're going to be in California even though it's Wisconsin. So I was like, yeah, I don't mind California. I used to live out there years ago. So, remind me again, how long have you had Vern?
We've actually had Vern 3 months. So he, right, what is this, September now? He came to us, 2 months, sorry. He came to us in July.
Sure.
We actually picked him up for the July 4th parade that we were in.
Oh, neat.
And that's when we realized that he was not doing well. So I had asked Lexi, I just monitor him over the weekend, and he hasn't left our house since, so. We've had a lot of visits to the vet. One of the things that we had talked about is where our funds go, and I can tell you as treasurer, as president, we spend near $7,000 a month just on vet bills alone. And that doesn't include medications, it doesn't include the wayward stories. It's basic vet care, spays and neuters, initial shots. He's ready to bolt.
He is. I can just see him. He is just energized.
He's actually great in our yard. He knows recall, and he's used to running around with all the dogs. So he's like, just let me run, Mom.
Well, and
Oh,
again, based on what...
I'll let Lexi know.
It's okay. We can circle back.
Yeah.
Based on what Angie mentioned earlier, Vern was lethargic, no energy, just not doing well.
Yeah.
And now he's like a bubble machine. Look at him. He's like a bubble machine.
He's almost 6 months old, so his start to life was not the greatest, but the rest of his life will be, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Exactly. You can't rewind, but you can move forward confidently. Like you said, I love your quote. Say it again. The hope quote.
Oh, the hope quote: where there's life, there's hope, right?
Where there's life, there's hope. And see that? This is one of the lives right here that through the generosity of Angie and Chris, right?
Chris, yes.
Yeah, Angie and Chris. And by the way, folks, I didn't even mention a shameless plug. I met Chris last night. He's also on the board of directors as well and contributes his time and talent to helping all of the wonderful critters in the greater Oconto area too. So
Yes, this is a family adventure. Sometimes he jokingly says, oh, without you, I don't know that we would have brought in as many fosters as we have. We've actually, Vern is number 98 of our fosters. So it's a labor of love, and when Chris and I met, I brought him along.
Yeah?
Brought him along on the adventure, so.
That's wonderful. And we can go as far or as short as you want. When Bruce and I stepped out and when Richard and I stepped out, we went all the way around the loop, so we can go around the loop,
Yeah,
or
we can go around the loop.
we can turn around too. So.
I blocked my calendar for you. For all of you.
Thank you. I'll step on this side, and we.
I know you just want to run, buddy, but you can't. Obviously, we're still training, so we're learning the leash. We had to learn grass.
Oh yeah.
Now we love grass.
Well, I think they just cut it too, so that even adds some more flavor and smells to it at the same time.
Come on, bud.
So, I know you have some other fundraisers that you've done as well. The awareness in the community has grown a lot since you guys have kind of taken the reins and reeled things back in and gotten the operation running well, much better than it was. What are some of the other future plans you have for the Humane Society? I know Bruce had mentioned that you started with around 150 to 200 adoptions per year. Now you're up over 600 per year. How are you going to support an operation that just continues to grow because of the impact that the board and donors and others are bringing to the mission here?
Well, one of the things we want to do is we're actually one of the few rescues in this entire county. So we are in the north woods of Wisconsin. And while we have a lower population than, Green Bay area or something of that nature, this is it. So people have to come, travel. We want to build. I don't know when.
Sure.
But one of our dreams is really to build on, whether that's building onto the same building we have, taking on more property. We want to be able to take in more animals and not have to think as much about. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Not have to think so much about.
Curious.
Yes and no. We can. We can't. We want to be able to say we can more often than we can't. So.
Well, and it's getting that margin
Yes.
to continue to grow, and that's where all of you come in. Whether I know I have folks that are local, I have folks that are all around the world that follow what I do and support causes that I believe in. So all of you can make an impact there. What Angie's talking about is they want to do more.
Right.
And so many businesses would be content to take a step back during the pandemic and all of that. And like she said just a little bit ago when we were visiting, they found every way possible to keep the wheels turning. Even if the wheels had to slow down a little bit, it still made a difference to be able to keep the staff, Lexi and others that are paid employees, to be able to have the finances to be able to pay their bills as well. So I mean the impact that all of you bring is so many levels of good, so many levels of good. Look at his legs go. He is just he's saying, okay, let's go around once and okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
It's good he needs a nail trim, so we're going to work on his nails right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they kind of wear. He's
trimming them as we wear them out.
Yeah, perfect.
Also, I'm full of meetings this afternoon at work, so he'll also sleep, which is good.
Well, talk about some of the other board members and the talents that they bring. I know that we might not have the opportunity to meet some of the folks that I met last night at the board meeting, and I know maybe even there were some that weren't there. But talk about your talent base as the president, and how these folks are helping to lead this great organization into being even more successful than it is now.
Absolutely. So we have a small board. However, everybody brings something specific to the board that is a need. So the one great commonality is that we're all there for the same purpose, right? So we're all there for the same purpose. But we have individuals who have finance background, help us with our budgets. We have people who are heavily involved in nonprofits. So think about grant writing, fundraising. We have people there for humor. You know, when we talk about bringing your authentic self, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And when you're in the midst of a pandemic and you're trying to think of like keeping doors open and keeping animals safe and keeping our community strong, it takes humor to get through that too. You know, so people bring in their true selves. They have fun. They step out on their weekends in the community. We're in parades where, you know, everybody brings
Well, and frying brats,
flair.
you know.
Right, we cook.
That's the first place that I met Angie, and I didn't meet Chris specifically, but I guess he was on the grill.
Yep.
And that's what I talked to. Remember when I was talking to all of you about Bruce? And, you know, right away when you hear board of directors, you're thinking, okay, they wear like some sort of big wigs like back in the day, and they wear these poshy coats and they're all velvet and everything like that. These are folks, number one, they're unpaid. They donate their time because they love animals, just like all of you do, and they love this cause and they love this mission. But beyond that, they're active out there with all of these fundraisers. Right now, I mean, Angie talked a little bit off camera about how busy she is at work, but she set those things aside so that you would have a chance to meet her, you would have a chance to meet Vern as well, and she would be able to, again, say to you, step out of the shadows, make a difference for this cause. And the same thing is true of Chris and all the other board members as well. They're behind this mission because they believe in it, not because there's big bucks waiting for them with their involvement.
The great thing about the board is they're always looking for ways to say yes. So how can we, whether it is fundraising or it's just community involvement, people are always willing. Don't go down there.
Yeah, don't go down the sewer.
People are always willing to step up and help us in whatever you can give. So we talk about, you know, how we make a difference. And this is a fundraiser. Monetarily, we need help all the time. And some people come out and they volunteer. And others come out and they support us at a community event. You know, it's giving back and it's making our society stronger.
Well, and that's really revisiting the values that are, in some respects, vintage, isn't it? Because back in the day, you helped a neighbor automatically. It was a given.
Right.
You heard about a need in the community. You put your life on pause, and you made a difference in someone's life.
Right.
We're so busy now. We've got our iPads and we've got our smartphones, or in my case, my semi-smartphone. And I mean, we're always at that point of we're racing one direction or another. And I realize, and Angie does as well, and certainly the other board members, you guys, many of you are also busy. You're still professionals out there in the workforce, and it takes an extra effort to put your life on pause so that you can make a difference for dogs like Vern, dogs like Hank. You've already met Diamond. You've met Bruiser. You met all the kitties and all the pocket pets, which Lexi calls them, and I think it's the cutest thing ever. So, I mean, life is about legacy, and this coming weekend, I decided to give you guys a special treat. I was able to get a hold of some really cool footage of an interview with the producer, the director, and a number of the characters from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, and I'm going to be showing that to you Saturday morning. September 11th. I had to think about the date, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, Saturday, September 11th. So instead of focusing on the anniversary and the horrible events that happened with September 11th, we're going to be going into that pure imagination state and meeting a lot of the characters that you already love from that movie, and also seeing them as adults, to include Peter, who played Charlie in the movie. And Peter now is a veterinarian, has been a veterinarian, a graduate of Cornell, and is making a huge impact out in New York State and works primarily with farmers and in the dairy industry as a veterinarian. So cow country, veterinarian, farms, see, it all comes together. It all comes together in the end. And I'm hoping that all of you that are saying, I already believe in the cause, I already want to get involved, I loved meeting Lexi, I loved meeting Bruce, and now we're having a chance to meet Angie and Vern as well. Don't put off any longer until tomorrow, because your life's just going to stay busy. There's going to be other distractions. Pick up the phone today. Again, you might have to leave a message. So if you leave a message, leave a fun message. You can even sing during it or something like that. And Lexi or someone else will call you back. They really are very busy folks. And as I kind of change the camera shot, we're coming back up on the Humane Society now. Seldom, if ever, during the visits that I've had, have I seen anybody standing still. They're always buzzing from one place to another to take care of the critters. So leave that message, make the donation through the website, 24/7 you can do that. And then remember to send that follow-up email to the shelter so that they know that that contribution, that donation, is for the Willy Wonka campaign. So, Vern, you have just been a trooper. Look at you. He's saying, let's do it one more time. And Mama and Scott are saying, no. I think we're going to circle back now and plunk down and wrap this up.
All right.
And you can't see it, folks, but if I kind of raise the camera up, you'll see over by that shed. That's actually Bruce over there. He also cuts grass here. Yes, he's a board member, but he's also a worker. See what kind of organization you're supporting? You're supporting folks that are trying to give everything they possibly can to make this mission successful. And now you can step in as a partner and be a part of that. How cool is that? What do you think, Vern? Should we go back in?
I think so. We'll just cut through here. All right, Vern. Back inside.
I don't know who that is, but
I don't know who that is either. We have a new friend. Did you find out?
hey, how are you?
Come on in. Remember this one?
There's one of the pocket pets friends right down there. See him? The bunny? Nice.
Are you ready to relax now, Vern?
He's like, I'm on the border about that.
Right, maybe later.
I'll schedule my relaxation. He can smell that chocolate, can't he?
Yes.
And obviously chocolate is not good for puppies.
No.
So I've got to keep that away. Well, thanks everybody for, as I oftentimes do during premieres, I have my screen the wrong way, so we can't see what you're seeing. So thank you again to everyone and for your heart. Like Angie had said, where there's, say it again, you say it better than I could. Hope.
Where there's life, there's hope.
Where there's life, there's hope. And life is represented in all of the critters that you've seen here at the Oconto Area Humane Society. Those beautiful kittens that a number of you sent me messages about, I was getting texts about them saying, if I didn't live in California, if I didn't live in Texas, if I didn't live in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, I would be there in a heartbeat and scoop up all of those little kittens that you showed during your walk with Lexi. Or I would scoop up, Bruiser in a heartbeat, because those beautiful pit bull terriers, they get such a bad rap because of all the stuff that goes on with people trying to paint a picture about a certain breed. Like when we walked with Bruce, we talked about Doberman pinchers and some of the other dogs that were misused and mishandled, and all of a sudden everybody is like, oh, I could never adopt a dog like that.
you saw Bruiser sitting on my foot with his little tail going grrrr, and licking my hand and saying, I need a forever home. And that's true of every single critter that you've met. And thankfully, Angie answered the call for this beautiful puppy that originally is from Texas. This beautiful puppy by the name of Vern that you can just see, he's smelling Hank on me right now saying, hey, I didn't have a chance to tour the workshop. I didn't have a chance to meet Hank. What's going on with this? I'm going to have a talk with Mom. When we leave here, I'm going to have a talk with Mom. But make a difference, you know, where there's hope, there's life, is what Angie has said several times. I hope I got that right.
Close enough.
Is it the other way?
It is. Where there's life, there's hope.
Now, you guys know when I visited the mansion down in South Bend and I was trying to figure out where that sewing machine was, I'm directionally impaired and everything. So we'll let her quote that so she gets it right. But, you know, whether you say where there's life, there's hope, or where there's hope, there's life, give that hope. Give that sense of life through your donation. And again, it's not equal giving, it's equal sacrifice. So if you're blessed with extra resources and you say, kind of like Mindy did in the last campaign. Do you remember Mindy from Las Vegas? The campaign is over. I've returned from the trip down in South Bend, Indiana. We've raised a little bit over $10,000 in about 10 days. You guys are doing it again. Day 2, day 3 now I guess it is, and we're already at almost 50% of our goal, which I think is fantastic. But Mindy reaches out after the campaign and says, I don't care about the 160-year-old brick. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but it, you know, whatever, but I want to just donate. I want to help. So do that now, preferably, so that we know where we're at, because like I said in the other interview when I did it with Bruce, we're setting with the idea of 100 chocolate bars. $50 donation gets you a chocolate bar, and the more donations you make, you raise your likelihood then of getting a golden ticket. So, you know, if you're saying, I love European chocolate, okay, I just do. And I would love to get that bundle of European chocolate, or I would love to get a Joann Fabrics gift card for $50 so I can shop in my area. Again, Joann's is all over the country. So if those are drivers, awesome, let them be drivers and make that donation. Make multiple donations and you're even more likely to get this golden ticket. Not to mention, I gave all the board members some of the chocolate last night, and initial reports are, oh my goodness. Is that good or what? So, and the movie was made in Munich, Germany. Where does the chocolate come from? Germany. So, I mean, we're trying to tie this all in so that it's just a complete, like a quilt. A quilt is built block by block by block by block. As we put this campaign together, it's putting all those blocks together just like you quilters. So join in and make a difference. And without me saying anything more, I'll just turn it back over to Angie and to Vern. And if she has any parting words, along with that awesome quote that I'm going to mess up if I try to say it, what would you say to them as a wrap-up, Angie?
Yeah, just as a wrap-up, again, words do me no justice when I say thank you. You're making a huge difference, and I will say our board is here every week, and where, you know, we see the good, we see the bad, and then we see the amazing people like you who are out in the communities and they're supporting us, whether you're in our community or you're part of our community by heart, right? So I can't thank you. You know, I kind of just chuckle because when you said where there's hope, there's life, and I said where there's life, there's hope, it goes both ways, right? With no hope, we can't support the lives. And without life, feels sometimes hopeless, right? So again, just thank you, and thank you, Scott. I mean, like I said, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference when I get up every morning and I see the joy in this little guy, and I saw how he came in. So I won't tear up. I am a very large animal lover, so but again, thank you, deeply and truly thank you. So.
Well, there you go, folks. we have a chance to make a difference here. And whether you say, where there's life, there's hope, or where there's hope, there's life, you have an opportunity and a privilege. I would say a privilege, because I consider myself privileged to be a part of this. And I know Angie does as well, and Chris, and others that are touching these lives and bringing hope and bringing life. Take advantage of that privilege. Take a step forward today. Put your life on pause. Call them up. Leave a message if you have to. Donate through the website. Send that email so that Lexi can shoot me, as she's been doing beautifully, shooting me those emails and say, I'm blown away. So-and-so just gave this, or so-and-so just gave that, or another donation. And it's not the amount. It's the fact that you, like when we did the campaign down in Indiana, I said to Bruce, and I saw his reaction, and spin that back and watch that again, his reaction when I said, not a single donation for that campaign down in South Bend, Indiana came from Indiana. Not one! And that just evidences the greatness of the impact that you can bring. You might be hundreds or thousands of miles away from this shelter in Oconto, but your love is carried over all of those miles. Your hope, the life that you bring through your donation is carried over all those miles. So you might be in Florida, Texas, New Mexico, Las Vegas, California, Hawaii, wherever it is. The real challenge I'd like to throw out there, because I know some of you are watching right now and probably even at this premiere, it's not uncommon for us to have folks from Canada, from France, from England. Could you guys consider it as well? I know you love your critters. Let's get an international donation. Wouldn't that be cool? And to say, I am bringing my hope, my love from 8,000 miles away. We have people from Africa, from India, from all over the place. Let's get some international folks that step in as well and say, we love our dogs and cats in England. We love our dogs and cats. We love our rabbits. We love those pocket pets. We call them pocket pets too. So let's do this, huh? Let's do this. All right. Well, thank you again, Angie. Thank you, Vern, for being here. And you were amazing. You were amazing. Look at your tail going.
Right? He's like, thank you, I'm fantastic. I know.
He knows I'm amazing.
It's like I get told every day.
Yes, you
so
do.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I'm gonna once Vern says, okay, you can stand up again, Scott. I'm gonna go over and just hit the button, and I'm expecting you then to hit your buttons on your phone or to hit your button on your computer and make a difference. And all of you that wanted to see the hat and the vest, there you go. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.